Obviously, our first priority is our relationship with God, and his admonition was to seek him. He said if we would draw near to him, he would draw near to us. If we would seek him, we would find him. So we don't do that naturally. We tend to do the things naturally that are sort of built into our body, in the sense of we eat naturally, we sleep naturally, because we're drawn to that. Seeking God is something that we have to work at, and I just believe the commitment to do that makes it happen. And so when I say, today I will read your word, it's based on the desire to know him and to have a relationship with him. And when I say, today I will be devoted to prayer, again, it's based on my desire to know him, to grow close to him, to be able to say with Paul, I consider everything in life to be garbage in view of the surpassing value of knowing you. And so that requires some seeking on my part, drawing near on my part. God waits to be wanted. And I won't do it naturally unless I make the commitment to do it. And so it's driven by that desire to know God, but it's also driven by the desire to serve him well, to be obedient to him and what he's called me to do, to be a faithful servant. And so again, I don't do things naturally that are the right thing, and so I have to make the commitment to do it, and then ask for his strength to keep those commitments. One of my things I said to my kids all the time when they were growing up is, you don't have to act the way you feel. And occasionally there would be some pushback from that, in the sense that would be phony if you didn't. And I say, no, it's responsible. If you were going to get, your wife was going to have surgery on a tumor in the center of her brain, and you got the best doctor alive to do that. And on the morning he got up to do the surgery, he stepped on his kid's skateboard, fell down, his wife burnt his breakfast, he had a flat tire in his car, somebody ran into him when he went to the hospital. When he got ready to do the surgery, he would be on the grumpy side, and you would really want him to act responsibly as opposed to the way he felt. And so many times we become a victim of our circumstances, especially in ministry, where we deal with a lot of people that have problems and divorces and those kinds of things. It's easy to get tired emotionally, burn out, and we need to understand that the refueling process, the time we spend with God in prayer and in his word primarily, is never going to really feel easy or comfortable or natural. But if we don't faithfully, like daily, make that a part of our life, pretty soon we're running on empty, and we'll have a tough time really serving God well or meeting needs in people's lives. So we have to recognize we don't feel like it isn't going to be natural. We're going to get tired and easy to set aside, but without it, we're going to really be useless for ministry in accomplishing things that matter for God. One of my mottos in my prayer life is much prayer, much blessing, little prayer, little blessing, no prayer, no blessing. And sometimes people will react in the sense of it sounds somewhat like the prosperity gospel until you understand what blessing is. Blessing is God's strength, his joy, his peace, as promised, peace that passes all comprehension. And for me, one of the great blessings is opportunity. Paul said, God considered me faithful, and he placed me into service. And so, I played basketball for years, and I sat on the bench most of the time. And I hated that. And that's one thing to sit on the bench in a basketball game. It's another thing to sit on the bench as far as God is concerned in ministry. And we tend to think we decide, but we don't. God does. He gives us opportunities. He gives us open doors. And he does that to those who are faithful. You are faithful with a few things, I will put you in charge of many things. And so defining faithfulness, for me is important, that I live the kind of life that's pleasing to him in regards to my prayer, my Bible reading, and so blessing is being given more to do, opportunity to serve him. When I get to the end of the day, I confess my sins, all known sin to God, and then just before I go to bed, I say, Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for everything you allowed me to do, and tomorrow I'd like to do a little bit more. Not a lot, but just a little bit more. I know you'll grant me the strength and the grace to do it well. And so that's what blessing is to me. It's not getting money, it's just having more to do for him as his servant.